I want to start with the partnership that you have with Riot, the work that you're planning to do with them. How will it work, and what progress do you hope to make?
Yeah, well, we've had a long-standing relationship with Riot, before this allegation of what's happening. And I've been saying for a very long time that so many cultures in tech are broken, and we have so much work to do. And oftentimes the partnerships that we build are because of the female engineers who are in these spaces and say, help us. Like, the only way culture changes is if we infiltrate, and if we have so many women there, and we make up over 30%, of the technology population, like, that's when you change. And that's what we're trying to do.
Do you think having more female developers in the gaming industry will help?
Absolutely. I mean, listen, I think that having a seat around the table, being able to have so many people tell me, well, I've never worked with a woman before, or who haven't been called out, on their racist or sexist behaviors. And when you have women who are sitting around the table, when you have people around who are sitting around the table, culture changes. There's no way it's going to change without us. And I think that that's what we've seen. Tech companies, when left to their own devices, there's still a bro culture. There's still a good old boy network. And so the only way, we change things is by teaching more girls than we can even count.
Well, and it certainly doesn't stop at the gaming industry. I mean, you look at this across corporate America and certainly the tech industry. I mean, why stop at the gaming industry? What other partnerships do you have? What other partnerships could you explore?
Look, Girls Who Code, we have about, over 100 partnerships. And I've been the founder of Girls Who Code, run Girls Who Code for the past 10 years. And these partnerships have been, critical to increasing the amount of girls who we've taught to code, 450,000. And over the past 10 years, almost 40% of those graduating from computer science courses in college are women. We did that. So change is possible, but it only happens not when there's only just one woman, in the engineering team, or even two women on the engineering team. Like, it is hard to change culture. And that is why we're going to teach so many girls, right, that culture has to change. But listen, Emily, I've asked myself this question a million times. Can it change? When you have a culture that from the beginning excludes women, excludes people of color, do we expect them to finally let us in and accept us? I don't know. And the data so far hasn't been that great, right? And so the other thing that we're doing at Girls Who Code is really empowering girls with technology to get them to build the next Uber, the next Google, the next Blizzard, right? And they will build empathetic companies, that promote equality and that, don't have so many of the same, I think, racist and sexist problems that we see happening over and over and over again.
Absolutely. I have always been of the mind that if you can build rocket ships to Mars and connect the world and organize the world's information, then certainly you can hire and promote more women, right? That shouldn't be too hard a problem for these visionary tech folks to solve. I want to move on to your Marshall Plan for Moms, because you've gotten a lot of support for this, celebrity support, support from other CEOs. Talk to us about how this works, what the real objective is.
Well, you're a mom too, so right, in the middle of COVID, we were like, what is going on, right? Almost all the jobs lost last December were women. 2 million, people left the workforce. 2 million women left the workforce. And the reason that they were leaving were that daycare centers were shut and schools were shut, and we simply didn't have the support that we needed, that America has always treated mothers as their social safety net. And many of us looked up and we said, well, where's the plan? You can't lose all of these women from the labor force and it just be an on and off switch. And suddenly when COVID is over, which we now know is never going to be over, that women will just re-enter. And so Marshall Plan for Moms was saying to, the government, the public sector, the private sector, saying, where's the plan? Like, we need a plan, to shorten the economic recovery for women and for moms. And, almost more than a year and a half, almost 2 years later, you look at the August jobs report and only 11% of the new jobs were women. So many moms are looking at the school year and saying it's just as chaotic, it's just as uncertain. And now COVID-19 is affecting children and they are dying. We used to say the silver lining of COVID was that at least the kids aren't getting sick. Well, the kids are getting sick now. And many companies, as I just heard your segment before this, are just saying, well, come back to work, return back to normal. Congress still has not passed a bill, to make childcare affordable, to get paid leave passed. Nothing has changed. even though we've had the largest exodus of women in the history of our nation. And so we're fed up. And so the Marshall Plan for Moms is a movement to channel that anger and that rage into hope and into change.
You've been lobbying the White House on this Marshall Plan for Moms. What kind of support are you getting there? What meaningful action would you like to see?
You know, we've had a couple of bills introduced in Congress for the Marshall Plan for Moms and a handful of bills introduced in states, but I want a task force. I know we think that task force are just, I want recognition. You know, I want somebody in the government who has KPIs and who said, okay, women's labor market participation is back where it was in 1989. How do I get it back to 51%? And every day, how do I measure my progress? What are the levers that I'm pushing? Okay, I'm making childcare affordable. Okay, I'm passing paid leave. Okay, I'm retraining women who've lost their jobs through automation. I want to see a plan, and I want to see someone in charge. I want a woman's job czar in the White House who is there every single day making sure that they don't turn our backs to us. And I want, you know, Republicans and Democrats who have stood in the way of this bill being passed, you know, to be held accountable. Listen, suburban moms in general, we're going to vote with our feet. And 2022, for anybody who is not on the side of moms, it's going to be a bloodbath for them. I promise you that.